Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today it is Thursday, and we are returning to the My Favorite LJN tournament. So yesterday I did take a quick break from the tournament in order to put out the new Major Wrestling Figure podcast video, looking at the new Series 8 figures that had come in. So just as a matter of fact, so Wednesday, I put out the new review video, and later on in that day, I did get in the second set of figures. So I was talking about, so Tuesday I filmed that video, and I mentioned that I thought I ordered a second set. In fact, I did, and yes, sure enough, Wednesday I did get that second box in, so we are covered there. And that's good because I really didn't want to go out on a secondary market and have to repay for that stuff, because you know how that stuff is always overly priced, man. And that's a great thing, man, because that new Legion of Doom set, and even that Matt Hardy, man, that freaking Matt Hardy, I really like that figure a lot. I don't think I really came off, really showed how much I really enjoy that figure. So I'm excited, man. I'm telling you guys, I am really interested in doing my favorite Big Rubber Guys tournament, man. With 8 figures or 8 series already out, and with a series 9 and 10 already, due sometime in the near future, and I think series 11 is already planned as well. We're gonna have more than enough figures out to do a full on tournament. So we can actually do a full length My Favorite LJN style tournament for the Big Rubber Guys, if that's something that interests the folks that, for the viewers that watch the channel. Now, I wasn't going out buying duplicate sets for all of the series. I didn't start doing that until around, series 5 or 6. So in the early series, I don't have duplicates, but I can go back into the shelves and pull out the boxes and, take them out off the card if necessary. That's not a huge deal. I prefer not to do that, but I mean, that'll be fine. A little bit of effort ain't gonna kill me, but that'd be awesome. But I've talked about the Galoob tournament. That's something I'm dying to do as well. But if you guys have interest, please feel free to reach out to me and let me know, hey, that's something that you'd like to see. Also, guys, I've been putting out a ton of community notes on the YouTube. I know that if you guys watch these videos on your smart TV, you're probably not going to ever see those community notes. I think that only pops up on your cell phone. So if you ever see messages from me, live funny memes or what have you, updates, stuff like that, polls and stuff like that, definitely feel free to reach out, leave comments, whatever you would like. I always love hearing from you guys there as well. Here in round 5 of this tournament, we only have 3 videos, so I was comfortable pushing back this 5th round another day. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday to complete round 5. We're only going to do 3 matchups in the first 2 videos, and then we'll do the normal 4 matchups on Saturday to complete the full 10 matchups for the 5th round, and that'll give us our 5 winners heading into round 6, the semifinals. Once we get into round 6, I'm only gonna do 1 video. It'll be 2 matchups. I'll draw a couple of names. That'll be matchup number 1. The 3 names that are left over will be the second matchup. That should be a little bit easier, because instead of just choosing 1 winner, I'll choose 1 loser essentially. So that way I'll have 3 winners moving forward to the finals, and both semifinals and finals will be the following week. So kind of give you an update of what's happening with the LJN tournament moving forward. So round 5, and then round 6 and round 7 next week, and that'll complete the LJN tournament. So right in time for Christmas. We started this LJN tournament right towards the end of August. So right around the fourth week of August. Man, 4 months. That's insane. And considering that we basically make videos every single day, obviously we weren't putting out tournament videos every single day, but still, this was insanely long. It was still a fun tournament nonetheless, though. So, but let's go ahead and dive right in and draw the names, and let's see who is going to be a part of round 5, part 1 of the My Favorite LJN tournament. All right. Number 1 is Andre, Series 1. And he will square off against the Big Boss Man. Andre Series 1 going up against Big Boss Man will be original on original. Alright, and that is going to pit the Dragon Steamboat and he is going to do battle against Steve Austin, and that is the Steve Austin Sheik figure. Okay. Zeus makes his 5th round entry. And Zeus will square off against Kane. And Kane, of course, is your Big John Studd fighting pose figure. Alright, so those are your 3 matchups for this video. Let's pause, get these figures pulled, and let's start in a moment. Alright. Figures pulled. Names drawn, figures pulled. Let's begin. And first matchup, we said, was Andre, Series 1, going up against Big Boss Man. So, you know what the fun thing about this tournament, like I said, yes, the first 2 tournaments, the first 2 times I made these tournaments, they basically were their own unique tournament as well, right? I mean, yeah, I basically had the same situation. The figures squared off kind of the way that they were situated on the shelves. Got it. But it wasn't like it was exact same matchups time after time. You know, they were still different setups for the most part. You had a few, I think the first go round, like the very first, like maybe it was Stud against Hillbilly Jim, or maybe Hogan against, I don't know, Sheik or something like that. I'm just throwing out names. I'm just guessing. I think like the first video was probably like the same matchups, but after that, I think most matchups were different. I think very rarely did you see the same figures square off against each other in the first tournament that you've seen in the second tournament. So it was unique. It was different matchups, even though they were basically the way that they were situated on the shelf. But this time around, with random drawings, completely unique, completely random. So it is a more fair and unbiased drawing and more unbiased competition. And you're seeing figures make it so much further than you could have ever expected. And you probably would have never seen a figure like Ken Patera make it to the 4th round, right? And Andre the Giant Series 1. One of my absolute favorite figures from the LJN line. I will always probably argue Andre is a number 3 all-time best LJN figure. And based on the way that the figures were situated on the shelves, yeah, you probably were never going to see Andre make it more than a round 3, maybe not even past round 2. I don't know where he was before. I think he was probably round 2. I think he was always going up against Big John Studd. And of course, Big John Studd was always a semifinals or a finals figure. So you were never going to see Andre Series 1 advanced very far in the competition. And that was a damn shame. Because this figure deserves to be somewhere at the end of the tournament. I mean, is this figure going to win the tournament? I always knew that's a Series 1 Andre. No, he would not win this tournament. But did he deserve to be in a 4th round, a 5th round? Hell, does he, with the right competition, could he make it to the semifinals and be one of the last 4 in these tournaments? There's more figures, so it's uneven. Last 5 standing, yes. Would he win? Again, I know he won't. But he's still a phenomenal figure. One that I absolutely love. He's got the right size. He's got the right bulk. He's got the perfect play pose. The only thing this figure doesn't have, that the one thing he lacks, is color and detail. Same thing that I mentioned with like Greg Valentine. Great figure. But he's just a very simple, plain figure. Black trunks, black boots. It's what hurts figures like these. You don't have that eye-popping color that just pops out. And so, you know, you look at like a figure like Big John Studd, he doesn't have the most eye-popping and just like, oh my God, that you look at the figure and it just explodes at you with color and detail. But it is a fantastic go-to figure for a character you grew up watching, and you know what? Fan favorite. This Series 1 Andre catches a lot of slack because of the elongated face and whatnot. And a lot of people don't covet the bushiness of the hair, the afro, but you know what? It's still the one I gravitate towards. When I talk about my favorite Andre figure, I don't mention Series 6 Blackstrap, even though that's how I remember Andre. I don't even bring up the Series 2 Andre. When I talk about my favorite Andre, this is the one I talk about. I love the fact that this figure has made it all the way to round 5. This was a phenomenal run. I realized the second that I drew the name Andre squaring off against Big Boss Man, I pretty much knew at that point that his run was over. I've said that Big Boss Man was essentially the most perfect of perfect figures. Now, I keep saying Big Boss Man's probably going to win this tournament, but I probably say that about 5, 6, maybe 7 different figures. So I really, in all honesty, I really can't say that anymore. Not at this stage of the tournament, but he really does have absolutely everything that I crave in an action figure. And that even includes accessory. So when I talk about your tall figures, your big, bulky, heavy figures that got nice weight to it, the good grip, he does have that eye-popping color scheme. Now, you do see Big Boss Man later on with the all-black police SWAT color scheme. Yeah, if you see that color, or if you see him in his Bubba Rogers white shirt, it's not as catchy. From a nostalgic standpoint, this is how I remember Big Boss Man. So I actually got a pretty beat up, destroyed Big Boss Man that I'm sending to my buddy Rob, and he's actually going to repaint it with the WCW Bubba Rogers color, and I'm going to have a brand new Big Boss Man. And if I do this tournament again, I'm going to have a second Big Boss Man figure as part of the competition. And I'm curious, if that happens, how well they're going to match up against each other. You might have 2 Big Boss Man figures in a round 5, round 6, round 7 potentially. That would be awesome. But this is, again, for nostalgia's sake, this is it. Great look, name recognition, accessory, play pose. The one thing, if this figure loses, it's sad, but the only thing, and it's not even his, I talk about the legs. Andre, Hogan, Stud, Kamala, where I talk about the bend of the knees, right? But he doesn't have that big leg separation. No, that's not even it. If there is one downgrade or one thing that bothers me with this figure, that right there. I don't care if it's LJN or LJN style figures or Hasbro style figures. The pointer finger, my God, I don't know what it is. But I have such a frustration with pointer fingers or thumbs up on like Hacksaw or like Jim Brunzell, stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but like that just bothers me. Maybe because I see so many figures and I constantly see that the pointer fingers are always broken off, and it's kind of like it ruins the figure. So yeah, Big Boss Man, he is going to win this matchup. But what a hell of a run for Andre. I am super proud of this figure to get the run that he actually deserves. But Big Boss Man, a semifinalist, did not get the run he deserved in the first tournament. Last two tournaments, making it at least to the semifinals. Finally getting the push he deserves. Love the figure. If I'm not able to do it in December 2024, I'm at least going to do it in January 2025. I've already talked to David Garland about creating some stands and maybe with some casing and getting some emblems built, about creating that Hall of Fame class of 2024 and retiring my LJN winners. So, class of 2024, that's going to be a fun video, man. I'm eager as heck to see what I can come up with as far as video, and I'm eager to see what he comes up with as far as design, because Big Boss Man could be as part of that retirement video. It is a fantastic figure. Love it to death. This one's tough. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat squares off against Steve Austin. So I will start off with Steve Austin on this one. Now, even though Steve Austin, I think around 94, 95-ish, I remember him coming into WWF as like the ringmaster or something like that. I was not a fan of Ringmaster. I barely remember him as a child. And like, if you had asked me about like who was the Ringmaster, like I would sit down to think about it. Like I probably would not remember. Like if you mention, Steve Austin as the Ringmaster, I'm like, huh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Because I would not have remembered Steve Austin as Ringmaster. Like that was something I really had to struggle to remember. He was simply a very forgettable character. He was like The Rock. I'm pretty sure The Rock was wrestling when I was still actively watching WWF. But again, he was a very forgettable character. I was not a fan. I was not like a huge viewer of The Rock back when he was, young and new entrant in WWF. So when I think about like guys today who are like some of the biggest stars in WWF history, such as The Rock and John Cena and Steve Austin, like I probably think about them, or I know more about them probably as actors, movie stars, than I do as actual wrestlers. And even though Steve Austin, I've probably seen him a lot more as an actual wrestler than in actual movies. But Triple H, because of Blade, I don't know if I've seen him in other movies, but no, I actually watched Triple H as an actual wrestler because I actually liked, the whole European guy, the European gentleman that he portrayed, the whole DX thing and all that, the whole suck it down. I mean, that stuff was stupid, especially when they started doing the whole thing in school later on. I'm like, that crap was lame as hell. This Steve Austin figure, I gotta be honest, I bought it because it was it was a great looking figure. It was something that I'm like, you know what? I'm already buying a ton of LJN customs from the seller, and I would love to add a Steve Austin figure to the collection. It was a great figure. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like an over the top, oh my god, I'm gonna die if I don't have this piece. When I did this tournament, I looked at the figure. I'm like, okay, you know, maybe this is just something that could make it maybe 2 rounds. If he goes up against the right competition, maybe he can go to the 3rd round. But this isn't something that is legitimately going to make it very far. But the more battles, the more times I got an opportunity to look this figure over and talk about it, I realized that this figure is actually more and more important. And I enjoy this figure more than I could ever have given it credit for. And I kind of compare it to like that Abdullah the Butcher from Wrestling Rider. I didn't really care too much about the Wrestling Rider Abdullah the Butcher when I first bought it. Like, it took me a while to purchase that figure, as you guys know. Today, I consider that to be like one of my all-time favorite figures. Like, I absolutely love it. Even though it's a King Kong Bundy resin type figure, it's one of my favorite pieces. And I love the hell out of this figure. And making it to round 5, I'm like, damn. I thought that this figure, after about a round or 2 ago, I thought this figure could make it to the semifinals. Who would have thunk at the beginning of this tournament that Steve Austin, that this particular Iron Sheik-esque figure could be a last 5 standing? But here we are in round 5 talking about it. The problem with this particular battle, I still think that he is good enough to make it that far. He is going against, though, one of my 10. Well, my 10 doesn't mean squat. Just because I picked 10 figures that I think could win this tournament. So far, I think Sid Vicious is really the only one that's been eliminated. I don't know if anyone else that I thought had potential. Oh, Kamala's been eliminated as well. And I don't remember anyone else that's been eliminated thus far. At least to my knowledge, I don't think anyone else part of my that I thought had potential to win has been eliminated to the best of my knowledge. Do I really think the Dragon Steamboat can win? He is a complete resin figure. I've always said it does not matter if it's a rubber figure, a resin figure, or a hybrid. Resin and rubber mixture. Any LJN figure has the potential to win this tournament. By all means, I definitely will always make the argument that a rubber figure will always have preference in my eyes, no doubt. I really like that Steve Austin figure. But come on, man. This figure, this one and the Colonel Mustafa, I've always gone back and forth, and I've always said this tournament had to be made because of those 2 figures. I was so enthusiastic about redoing this tournament because I wanted to showcase these figures and give it as much love as possible. I don't know if Bruiser Brody loses this tournament. Bruiser Brody could repeat as a 3-time champion. But I think a figure like this could be the one that unseats him as champion. It is just so good in so many facets. And you know, I talk about not liking the WCW Galoob Tom Zank fighting pose, but when you actually look at the pose, the way that his arms are positioned, right? It works beautifully because of the way that the capes are draped on his arms. And he's kind of like showcasing his drapes like he's about to fly or something. So the positioning of the arms actually make a lot of sense. And if you're not looking at it as like, you know, a wrestling style figure, if you're looking at it from like positioning of like a flight, for example, that is brilliant design. And Same thing with like the resin earthquake figures that I got from Kevin Pelkey. Even though the arms are like super in tight, right? I've never had a problem with those earthquake figures based on pose because I never looked at them as wrestling figures because they're not rubber. They're resin. They're 100% resin. 100% resin, right? I don't look at this as a wrestling figure. I look at this as a statue. And because I've looked at those earthquakes as statues, legitimate statues, I don't have complaints about the pose. It is a fantastic, over-the-top, incredible design. Again, another hell of a freaking run for a figure. But this is, like I said, over the top, amazing piece. I felt like from the very get-go that this was going to be one of those figures that we're going to make it all the way to at least the semifinals. Does he make it to the finals? Is he going to be one of the last three standing? There are about 7 or 8 figures in this tournament remaining here in round 5 that I think have the chance to make it to the last 3. So, I mean, at least getting it to the last 5. I mean, at least his foot is in the door with the possibility to be one of the last 3 standing. So, he just has to make it one more step. But one of the best customs with Steve Austin is out after 5 rounds. And the last matchup for this video is going to feature Kane taking on Zeus. Now, Kane definitely has the pose over Zeus. Now, Zeus has already been a champion by winning the My Favorite Ram Treasures tournament. In all honesty, he has nothing left to prove. He is a sort of tournament winner. Now, if he wins a My Favorite LJN tournament, he really does solidify himself as one of the greatest, and possibly the greatest LJN figure ever made, period. Because now you're not just defeating, I don't know, 60 or so, however many figures there were, of, random treasures exclusives, based on their particular roster. But now you're defeating 320 figures from all of LJN and Grand Toys. You're beating customs from all of Ram Treasure's roster. Plus, you're beating all of these figures, all these customs from all of these other customizers from all over. Brilliant customizers from all walks of life. Whether he wins this tournament or not, he is a tournament winner for winning that Ram Treasures tournament. So I think it's important for this figure to win because he is already a nomination. No, forget nomination. He is going to be part of the class 2024 Hall of Fame induction. So this is basically going to be the last time we see Zeus in a tournament. And I've said it before, man. No Holds Barred. I absolutely love that freaking movie. And you love it as a kid, and you think, okay, some movies you watch as a kid, you love, you know what? Maybe it's over the top. It's childish. As an adult, you won't care too much about it. No, forget that. You watch it as an adult, you still love the hell out of the movie. It's still classy. It's still funny. And well, maybe not classy, but I mean, it's still got good humor in it, okay? You're not expecting Hulk Hogan to be an over-the-top, brilliant actor. It is what it is, okay? he holds his own. Okay, it's just a fun movie. You're not expecting like Sean Penn to be acting in the movie type of acting. Okay, you're not expecting a brilliant actor, but and of course Tiny Lister. But Tiny Lister, it just makes an awesome character, no matter whatever he's in. Good strong pose, great look, love the gloss, fantastic all over. I mean, the chain, I actually would like the chain to be a little bit longer so I could kind of do more of a wraparound, kind of like what they did with like Mr. T, kind of do more of a full wrap. But I mean, still, it's a big, thick, strong chain. It's a thick, strong chain. So I mean, I'm happy with it nonetheless. Now, even though Kane isn't his own figure, it is a cast off of Big John Studd. Here's the thing. Big John Studd is my favorite LJN, right? I've been classifying him as my number one favorite forever. Perfect pose, perfect build, big, strong, thick, heavy figure. And since I've been doing this tournament, every time I bring this figure up, I look at the colors and designs, and I'm like, man, this figure is so well done, even better than I could have even given it credit for. And the lines are so clean and perfect, and I'm like, they really did a phenomenal job on this figure. And I'm trying to look at the hands. I keep forgetting if they painted the hands or if they put like a little cloth on it, because when you feel the face, that's not painted, that's actual cloth. They kind of glued onto the face. So this is a really, truly amazing job. Does this figure win the tournament, though? One-on-one with Bruiser Brody. That's the thing. A couple years ago, when Big John Studd went up against Bruiser Brody, I was almost getting ready to name Big John Studd winner. It is a Big John Studd figure, but it's got a lot of huge upgrades, with color scheme, right? If Bruiser Brody finds himself in the finals, and let's say it's Studd, let's say King Kong Bundy, or hell, let's say Zeus. Well, I can't say Zeus. It's because of Studd and Zeus. Let's say Big Boss Man. Let's say Big Boss Man, Kane, and Bruiser Brody, and Bundy and Bruiser Brody defeats Boss Man. All right, Boss Man's off to the side. It's now down to Kane and Bruiser Brody. Is there enough color and detail to this figure to put him over the top? And honestly, shoot, there just might be. Like I said, in the past, what was it, last video before then, this isn't about the my best figure tournament. This is about the my favorite figure, or the my favorite LJN tournament. So the best LJN figure may not win, but it might be my best LJN or my favorite. Oh man, this is tough. Am I going to shock some people with this decision? Because I've been saying that freaking Zeus is going to... Freaking nose is itching like crazy. Trying to like... It's like right at the tip of the nose too. Now I look like a rabbit. I might get ready to shock some people. But not this time, guys. Not this time. I'm sticking with Zeus. Like I said, guys, I think that this is one of the most perfect figures ever made. I've given Ramchargers a lot of credit, but I don't think I give them enough credit for this particular figure. I am a huge fan of this particular piece. It's one of my absolute favorites. No matter what seller, what customizer, Zeus, man. And yeah, it does have a lot of to do with the movie. If it was just some random character, like if this was, if this was change the color and turn this into Tully Blanchard, for example, it probably wouldn't mean the same to me. Like, take the Tully Blanchard figure, get rid of the pants, throw on trunks and boots with this pose. It probably wouldn't hold the same. It wouldn't hold the same feelings. But I love the black and gray. I love the fact that it's Ty Lister. I love the training accessory. I love that I added the belt to it. Everything just meshes with this figure. The gloss, I mean, everything is perfect. So when I say that this figure could go hand in hand with Bruiser Brody, absolutely. But I look at Big Boss Man and Bruiser Brody going up against each other and really meshing well against each other. I look at Dragon Steamboat. I look at that Colonel Mustafa figure. And then I look at figures that are like at the bottom that nobody's really talking about. But what about the Series 1 Hulk Hogan? What if he makes it to the semifinals? I think that's a sleeping horse, a sleeping what's the expression? A sleeping giant in this tournament. Because he may not have done anything in previous tournaments, but that particular original figure in a semifinals or finals match, I'm going to feel a whole lot different if he makes it that far. I think if Hulk Hogan Series 1 original, I think if he makes it out of round 5, that, for a lack of a better term, I'm going to use Ken Huck Harrelson's terminology, my pick to click to win this tournament. Because that's just, I think it's going to be really, really hard for me to choose anything else over that particular piece. No matter how much I enjoy these other figures. Just nostalgia, my favorite wrestler, my love for that particular figure. I mean, play pose, everything. Yeah, man. But shoot, this was a fun video, man. Yeah, these matches were difficult, but still, 2 more videos in this round, 1 more in the 6th, 1 more in 4 videos. I'm saddened because, I mean, I'm excited to get to the end, but I'm also saddened that this tournament is ending. When you spend 4 months working on a particular series, and then when it's ending, it sucks. So, I don't know if I'm going to ever do this LJN tournament again. I think after I talked about doing the 2nd tournament, I said I may not ever do an LJN tournament again, and I did a 3rd one, so I might do an abbreviated one, a 4th time, 5th time, 6th time, maybe. But I guess it all depends on how the viewers react. If you guys want me to keep going year after year with new tournaments as I bring on new figures, sure thing. But again, it all depends on how you guys feel, if you want to see that or not. But we're getting up there in time, guys, so I'm going to end the video here. As always, thank you so much for watching, and talk to you in the comments. See you in the next video. Take care, everybody.